Hi, my name is Mónica Stocker and I'm the author of this course called How to Teach in English in 4 Steps. This course has been specially designed for IT professionals. So, who am I? As I said before, my name is Mónica Stocker. I live in Madrid, in Spain, and I began in the world of online English classes on the internet in 2006, that's a long time ago. And at that time, I started writing El Blog para Aprender Inglés, which peaked a few years later, almost 400 visitors per month. So I am a certified bilingual English teacher with 20 years of experience, of which more than 10 have been as an online English teacher. And I'm also the co-founder of 2 English academies. One is an academy for Skype lessons for private students, and the other one is for companies. One is a PI for private students, and Apprentice is for companies. So without further ado, let's see why I wrote this course. In the middle of the COVID crisis, companies and professionals can greatly benefit from selling their services abroad. Especially because it's now easy to provide services from the comfort of your home or office via Zoom, Skype, or any other similar platform. In this context, this course explains the basics of what you need to do to prepare your lessons in about any topic. To prepare your lessons, of course, in English, no? So, because I have experience teaching IT professionals, I have chosen to give the examples of this course and examples related to Agile methodologies and DevOps. Now, let's see what the course covers. First, what level you need to have to teach in English. 2, what can you expect from this course? 3, knowing your audience. 4, preparing the course. 5th, problems you should tackle. And the 6th item is rehearsing, role play, and repeat aloud. Now, let's see. Let's talk about the level that you need to have to teach in English. As probably you're thinking, you need to have a level which is B2 with a B2 or a higher level than B2. Ideally, you need to have a C1. But I must say that if you work hard and you practice a lot, even the students which have a level lower than B2 can also teach in English. But of course, as I said, you need to practice much more. You need to learn more vocabulary, you need to focus on pronunciation, okay, all the things that we're going to see now. And what can you expect from this course? This course is a basic guideline on how to teach any subject of your preference in English as a second language, okay? So you will learn how to prepare yourselves to start teaching your course, how and what to say to communicate effectively, and what are the most common mistakes and how to avoid them. So, what happens, probably you're asking, what happens if you feel that your speaking skills are not good enough to speak in public, or you just suffer from stage fright? Can you still benefit from this course? I think you can benefit anyway, because if you focus all your attention on preparation, you are not going to leave anything to improvisation. So if you know exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to say it, your English will sound much better and you will be more self-confident. So let's go to the first step. The first thing you should know is you should get to know your audience. This is the most important thing, because knowing your audience will determine how deep you go into the course and will determine also the language you will use, no? For example, do the students know anything about your topic, or are they newbies? This is the first thing that you have to ask yourself. Perhaps you already know the type of student you will have, but if you don't, you will have to prepare a set of questions for your client before doing anything else. So the first thing is prepare a list of questions that you will ask your client. Okay, what kind of questions are these? Examples: checking the client's background. So for example, you could say something like, I understand your company makes apps for the Social Security and that you are located in Portugal, for example, whatever. Is there anything that is important for me to know about your company in order to teach this course? What is the student's background? Do the students know anything about the topic? Then you can go into the number of students that are going to join the course, and also the duration of the course. So you can ask something like, how many people will join the training sessions? Because it could be that you cannot, suppose, and you are thinking that you have a course that lasts 3 hours, but the client says, no, I cannot have a course for 3 hours here in the company. So you will have to split this course in 3 sections, for example, and maybe the number of students is different. So all these details are very important for you, because this is the information that you need to have before you start writing the course. So place, before the COVID, it was probably a face-to-face course, but nowadays it's going to be a platform like Skype or Zoom or a virtual classroom. No? So you have to know that, also very important, so that you know the tools that you're going to use, and you're familiar with these tools, because the less you leave to improvisation, the better it is for you and for the audience. And also a very important question is expectations. What do you expect from this course? The answer to this question may be, we would like to have a basic training or a more in-depth training. With the answer to this question, you have a pretty good idea of what you have to write about it, because if it is a basic course, maybe it's a shorter course, you won't have many complex questions. But if it is a deeper course, you have to get into more details and all that. So it's a very important question to ask. What do you expect from this course? You can also say, are there any specific points you will like me to emphasize or focus? No? Now, you can go into previous experiences. Have you had previous experiences with similar courses? And if you have, did anything go wrong? How was it solved? Okay, this is also very good for you, because if they had a bad experience, perhaps they can tell you what happened, and you are less likely to make the same mistake. No? Some extra questions could be, would you like me to hang in some specific material? For example, would you like me to send you the PDF on all the writings? Would you like to include some games, for example? This is very interesting, for example, for Agile methodology, that includes some games as an example of the methodology. No? So any question that helps you to write a better course, you should always think of these questions very thoroughly, so that you don't make mistakes. Now let's go to the second step, preparing your course, research. The first thing you're going to do is to do research. Perhaps you have the same course in Spanish, so you're planning, okay, I'm just going to translate it and prepare what I'm going to say. But even if you have it translated, it is always good to do some research. The other situation is that you don't have any material and you have to prepare it in English. In this case, it's also very, very relevant that you do the right research. And what kind of research? Well, the first thing you should do is to look for similar courses online and try to get familiar with the vocabulary, with the tools they use, and also try to see how they explain the different topics and what kind of intonation they use. How do they address the audience? No? And did you like the course, or perhaps you didn't like the course? What would you change in that course? This is the kind of research you have to do, even if you have your course translated into English, because you're going to find many important words if you do the research. If you find courses in English, perhaps vocabulary that you don't even know. So in this second step, first we said the first step was asking these questions or preparing questions for your client. The second step of writing. First I do research and then I go into writing. And the first thing I'm going to write is an outline. An outline means a schema. So I'm going to say introduction, I'm going to give this example, that example, and I'm going to get to this conclusion. Okay. So I have prepared here an example of an introduction. I could say something like, for example, good morning, my name is Mónica Stocker and I'm an Agile coach at eTextWebs. And I have been working as an Agile coach for 4 years and have been teaching this training course on Agile for the last 2 years in dozens of companies. So I give some background about myself so that the students know that I am a specialist on this course. And then I can tell what the course will cover. And I will cover the following topics. For example, why do we need Agile? What is Agile? What are the key terms of Agile? What are the advantages of Agile on how to implement Agile? And various Agile frameworks. Now, the first step was to prepare the question. The second step was writing. But once you have written your course, you need to do something very, very important, and it is to edit what you just wrote. So you have to try first to do it yourself, but in this part, I would say that the best thing to do is to look for professional help, because there are many things that you're not going to know, okay? So if for a non-native speaker, it's also very, very important to prepare the course very well, so it's a course that has some quality also. Because if you're just repeating, for example, in English what you said in Spanish without thinking of the proper words, without dividing the information in the right proper manner, all these things will affect the quality of the course. And of course you want to do the best course possible, okay, to get more clients. When you're editing, you can focus your attention in very, very specific mistakes that I have seen many, many times, these kind of mistakes. And basically I divided these mistakes in 3 kinds of mistakes. You should pay attention to use of English. Use of English is the verb tenses, the structures and the spelling of the words. And specifically you should focus on consistency, because many times you start with a subject that is plural and you need a verb that is plural. And if it is singular, then the verb should be singular. And if you don't do that, the writing is wrong and what you're going to say is wrong. So this is one of the things, use of English is very important, to check the use of English. Another thing that's quite common is words invented by me. So words that I make up, and I think that they are English words, but they are not. And this is a very big mistake, because in most of the cases you are going to be wrong and people are not going to understand you. So you have to be careful about the words that you use. And then the last thing is pronunciation. I'll talk first a little bit more about editing use of English. Okay, here we see that what I said before, verb tenses and structures and consistency. So for example, if you are going to use the past, you use the past tense. If you're going to use the present, you remember that the third person has an S. If you use, for example, a preposition, remember that after a preposition, the verb goes in the gerund. It's always a gerund, no? So all these little details make the sentence and the paragraph sound much better. Then, for example, in the case of words invented by me, you have to pay attention to words like, for example, abarks, which is that's a Spanish word. It's not an English word. So if you say something like Agile embarks a continuously approach to software, probably somebody that speaks Spanish is going to understand very well, but not somebody who speaks only English. No? The last thing is pronunciation. Many times I've seen that pronunciation can be a problem when the sound of the word is completely different from the real sound. So this happens with words like course. That's a very common word, but many people say course. So the word is course, not course. Or product, not product. Or schedule, not schedule. Or the past tense of teach, that is taught. Or introduction, not introduction. Or basic, not basic. Or build, not will. Another important, in the second step, another important item is to think about the questions you might be asked, because this will make you nervous. If somebody starts asking questions and you don't understand the question, or you understand the question and you don't have an answer, well, it's a problem. So you should also think about this. And there are 3 ways to prepare these questions. So if you did this course in Spanish before, you try to translate the questions and prepare the answers for these questions. If you never did this course before, you have to imagine the questions and answers. Also, the last thing to do is to do some research online. And this is very helpful. I already mentioned YouTube courses. Many times people put comments, and in the comments there are questions, no? And also TED, this website where you have many presentations. People ask questions, and they are very common questions sometimes, and you can see sometimes they answer the question. And if there's no answer, you can prepare the answer. So that's a very important part of the course. Now let's go into the third step. What kind of problems should you tackle? No? I have identified about 3 types of problems. One problem, the main problem, is fillers. When you're not fluent, but this happens also in Spanish. When you are giving a speech, many times you use words that help you to think of the next word. And this word in Spanish is words or sounds. Is many times I hear this o que be some kind of noise that helps the brain to look for the right word. And sometimes it can be a sentence, a phrase, like you know, so that it gives you time to think. One of the things you should do is to record yourself in front of a camera and try to see if you say those words. Because many times we are not even aware that we're saying those sounds. So just pay attention and try to avoid them. Another problem is hesitation. It's when you don't really know, you're very confused about what to say, and so you either are very silent. You can be silent, but not for a very long time, because then it becomes awkward. But you should try to avoid like a very long pause or thinking like, I don't really know what to say, because it looks like you don't know your subject. That's the main problem. And the third problem is fluency. And fluency can only be solved by practicing, just by using the language and trying to see the type of mistakes that you make and correcting mistakes. And that's the way you do it. Now, finally, the fourth step. This is the most important, well, one of the most important steps, and is to repeat, actually. First will be to rehearse. Rehearse is ensayar. It means that you have to pretend that you already have your audience, and you can call a friend or a colleague and say, please listen to me. Let's see if I do it right, okay? Use friends to do this. And role play. Role play is also, I play the role of the teacher, you play the role of the student. Ask me questions. This is also very important, because you put yourself in the situation, in the reality. And then repeat aloud one time and try to correct. You can record it, as I said before, and then later when you hear the mistake, you do it another time and another time until you come with the right word or the right paragraph. We got to the end of this very short little course, How to Teach in English in 4 Steps, and so we're going to wrap up. So, step number 1, know your audience. Step number 2, prepare your course. That means research, write, edit, remember, edit use of English, pronunciation, and words invented by me. Prepare the questions you might be asked. Step number 3, tackle your problems. Remember, failures, hesitation, and fluency. And step number 4, rehearse, role play, and repeat aloud. Okay, and that's it. You can find me in el blog para aprender inglés, and I will be happy to help you with any questions. Bye bye!